Yes, you would have took a stop. That's what a mountain looks like.
Well, that's where Flagstaff is.
No, that's what Texans would say. They never left Texas. They're like, wow, a mountain. Never even seen one before. And then they'll look at these. I'm like, oh, that looks like Texas. Wrong trees, but it looks like Texas. Their trees would be all cedar. Thinking about getting lottery. Looking at the birds.
Vultures.
Well, if you get lottery, Mom, I got $5 on it. That drink.
Yeah?
Grandma's stressed the fuck out of me.
You want to make a video about it?
Sure.
Okay, hang on a second.
We can also talk about, what was the thing we were going to talk about?
I don't know, hang on.
It's about Grandpa. What'd you think of the gummies?
Not my favorite. I mean, they're okay.
$2.
Yeah, I like stuff really sour.
Oh.
Okay, Flagstaff. 6 miles. We're 6 miles away. See the mountain? That's Flagstaff.
Oh, Flagstaff? Oh, shit. We're making good time.
Kinda. I feel like that seemed like it was a long way to be, but what do I know?
For $2. Alrighty.
Alrighty. Today is March 30th. Friday, March 30th. And we're in between Prescott and Flagstaff. Almost at Flagstaff. We're like 2-3 miles from Flagstaff. About ready to get on the 40 and head east towards Texas. And it's 8:40 in the morning. We've been on the road since 7 a.m. And today is my maternal grandmother's 95th birthday.
95.
And me and my children, including this one right here, are the only living relatives. My grandma survived 3 husbands, her only daughter, her only child, and now a son-in-law. So she's not in a very good place. She's not in a very happy place.
340A to I-40 East.
So we came out of our way on our road trip and spent the night in Prescott so that we could go visit her for her 95th birthday on the way through. And Jared was just telling me afterwards, we came back to the hotel and we went to the little Mexican restaurant that's there on the property, and we both had a margarita, and he was saying that he really needed that drink last night because he was about ready to have a seizure when we were visiting her. You want to talk about, like, why?
Why?
Yeah.
Grandma doesn't like me going around playing the piano and stuff, but she doesn't understand that I play the piano for my anxiety disorder and stuff, you know? But she's like old school. She's still stuck in the 1900s. I mean, early 1900s, where she'll call the medical terms as they are. Old school medical terms. She's not with the new generation, you know, like, and she can't understand autism or anything. Or I don't know how to explain it, you know? Like, so when I went over there, it was like, I like to pace around and stuff, around the rooms and stuff, and she didn't like that last time.
Well, the last time we were here was in
2 years ago.
no, not 2 years ago. It was Thanksgiving, so November, late November of 2016. We didn't spend last Thanksgiving here.
Yeah,
We all came out.
It was all of us.
It was you and your brother and sister, your brother's wife, the grandkids. It was Grandpa and Lisa, and then my grandma. So, you know, it was a little family gathering, and we all met there at her retirement home. You know, and it was a tight space, and, you know, just a lot of chaos, a lot of family there, you know, the kids, and it was a lot anyways. And so, you know, you get anxiety, you get stressed out, so you were sort of, you know.
Yeah, so I had to use all my energy to sit still and be super formal, like old school formal, like...
You're saying yesterday.
Yes,
Yeah.
I meant yesterday when I was at dinner, because, like, Grandma, like, she's super strict.
So, because she complained. When we went out there on Thanksgiving, she complained.
I didn't want to hear it, so I have to eat formally.
So this,
you know, I have to eat all
let me
proper.
back up. So this week, when I was dealing with Grandpa's death, me and my grandma got into it. My grandma was upset at me. She hung up on me twice and this and that. And so she and I finally talked. She finally answered her phone. We talked for an hour and a half. It was a very, very intense conversation. And it was in that conversation when I told her I was going to come by and visit her on my way back home. And she told me not to come, that she didn't want to see us. And when I pressed her what the issue was, she basically said it was because you weren't welcome there. And so we had this discussion about autism and what autism is, and she just basically wasn't understanding or very compassionate about it at all. So we went anyway.
Oops. Broke the necklace.
So we went to see her anyway, because she's 95. It is her birthday today, and I might not have the opportunity to see her again. But I told you before we went that you needed to, like, not play on the piano and to, you know, stay put, not get up and pace around or fidget or do the normal things that you're used to doing to sort of mediate
my normal ritual. You know, I like to do that. That's my normal ritual
to help you relieve your anxiety.
You know.
So you weren't able to do that. You had to basically sit
still and quiet
for.
And let her talk herself. Let her talk to herself, you know, about it.
About 3.5 hours we were there visiting her.
Oh God, that took so much energy. I was like,
so you were really,
I was energy wiped.
Yeah, it was rough.
I didn't like it, because like, if you have to eat formal with your grandma, because like the silverware, everyone's always questioning about my manners and at the table. You know, all my friends always like that. Like, I know how to eat formal. And you see why now. Like, some of my friends will be watching this and they'll see why, because I have family members that expect me to eat that way.
Well, that's how I grew up.
That's how Grandma and Grandpa were.
I know.
I get slapped in the head.
That's
I don't do it.
That's how I grew up.
Table manners. No elbows on the table.
There was no such thing as casual dining in my childhood.
They don't have that now. People use their hands to eat.
So that was really rough. That was really rough. And you know, I'm glad I visited her, but I'm also glad I am on the road and on my way home, because it exhausted me too. It was very challenging. She was challenging,
But I am glad. I still love my grandma, of course, my great grandma. You know, I got pictures with her.
Yeah.
Because this might be the last time I see her.
Exactly. She's 95.
95. And it might be the last time.
Yeah. But she's real depressed, you know. Depressed people that you know, they can die sooner because, you know, they don't.
She's lonely.
She's very lonely.
That's what she was complaining about, too.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand that. I feel bad for her, but by the same token, she's not very open or loving to family, so, you know, it makes it hard.
It is hard, but she's in a great is that home thing?
Retirement community.
Great
well,
retirement
she lives
home.
in the assisted living section of it. Yeah.
Which is nice, because like if I get old, I mean, I kind of want something like that. If I fall and have a seizure, I can pull a cord before I.
Yeah.
They have cords in the
It
bathroom.
costs a lot of money for her to stay there.
A lot. But traffic. Last seen 2. I don't understand that sticker. Last seen 2.
I don't know. 318 miles to Albuquerque, 52 miles to Winslow, Arizona. It's like in that Eagle song. Such a fine sight to see. Girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me.
I like the dark colors of those tiny hill mountains.
That's where Holbrook is, where all the petrified wood is.
Isn't that weird how I can play the flute with my nose? I can even make it go woo woo woo, you know?
So we haven't made a video actually since we came out here, Jared. So like a whole week's gone by. Actually a week and a day, because today's Friday and we left our house on Thursday
dealing with
morning
a
of
lot.
last week. So you want to talk it all about this week and how that's been?
Sure. You want to start it? You want to start how you stayed at a friend's house?
We stayed at a friend of mine's house, a friend from way back when. She used to change your diaper
Since
when
the
you
wedding.
were little. Right. She used to change your diaper when you were little.
20 years ago.
Right? So we stayed at her house, but she wasn't there, so it was just me and you, and then Dad stayed over the weekend.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of family drama, so we had to do a lot of like smudging and playing the flute,
Sage the house like every night.
playing the drum, and
The only reason I sage the house every night is because we're all emotionally broken because Grandpa passed away and then a whole bunch of other drama stuff. So like every time we leave the house, we're all angry and we're getting things attached to us. And like including mom mainly. She brought emotions in I'd never even seen before and it was scary. And then I had a sage her. And then that first night I saged the room for the first time, I was seeing orbs. Balls of lights.
yeah, so it was a difficult week, very stressful. Every day was a challenge. And then let's see. We went and you helped me pick out a gravestone.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm so thankful for that. It's like, how messed up is that?
Talk about it.
45 years. One of my grandmas, which is your grandma too, technically. Yeah.
My grandma.
Yeah, one
So
of your grandmas
great
been
grandma.
at this grave. This is it graveyard? Do they call it a graveyard? What do they call that?
A cemetery.
A cemetery. Yeah. She's been at the cemetery. Mom's visited 3 times in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
3 times,
In
and every time
California.
she went, there was no gravestone. And it's kind of messed up to have a family member with no gravestone. So, Mom was like, she told me, hey, let's go pick out a gravestone for one of our family members. And I was like, sure. And then we realized they're not expensive gravestones.
Not as much as I thought.
Yeah, I figured they were a lot more too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I picked out the stone itself. Beautiful green, what is it? Garnet? Or something like that. A beautiful green with a 2-tone color. Because she deserved it. She's been there for 45 years without a gravestone. So now we got a pretty good one. A classic one.
Yeah.
We could have been super cheap and just plain black and white. But I'm like, no, she's been there for 45 years. She deserves this.
Yeah.
She's in 6 weeks. She gets a beautiful gravestone,
Yeah.
and it says a quote on there. Mom put on there. It says, what was it said?
Your life mattered.
Your life mattered. Or matters. Your life matters. Because no one in the family bought her a gravestone. I mean, that's family history. So, I mean, one day in the future, when I have kids or something, they might want to visit that. They want to see the whole family tree. And I'm like, oh, yeah, she's been here for 45 years and she still doesn't have one. But now I get to say, oh, yeah, it's right over here because it's on the lot.
Right.
Now you can find it without looking for a map.
Right.
Because it would get irritating. You go visit your grandma and there's like, man, where is it? And you'll be stepping on it because there's no gravestone. You'll be like, oh, now there's a pretty one, pretty green like garnet with a thing, and then it has flowers around it.
Mm-hmm.
The engraving flowers, and then we changed the design. We made a custom one. It had a cross in the front, but we put a hummingbird. Because it fit her some way.
So that was pretty cool. That was a cool part of the trip. Because I have a lot of ancestors buried there, right? My grandpa's there.
Well, I didn't even know about that. That would have stressed me out not knowing she had a gravestone. But now that I know she has one. So now I feel happier and some relief. Because I was like telling the lady that was helping us pick out the gravestone, I was like, man, if she doesn't have a gravestone in Mexico, that's kind of messed up. Because in Mexico, their belief is like, it's kind of like the movie Coco.
Right.
The forgotten disappears.
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is like I was telling you her story. She was put in the mental hospital in 1952.
1952 in the mental hospital.
And she was in there for 20 years.
20 years.
And she suffered shock treatment that whole entire time. And she died in there alone, you know?
Yes.
So, like, you go back to that movie Coco, do you think that affected our family? Well, of course. My dad was 4 years old when that happened to him. He grew up without a mother. He never knew her. He never visited her in the hospital because back in those days, you know, kids weren't allowed to go in those places.
Text Dad. Tell him we're making a video.
Oh.
He called.
Yeah,
I saw it up there.
Yes. Anyways, going back to the movie Coco, you know, don't you think that her life affected our family in some way? Had an effect on us?
It tells me that if the mental disorder was there, then it would tell me why our future lives are like similar ways.
Her going through that could have created a mental disorder, correct? For my dad?
Electrical shock therapy back then is brutal. It's just straight up electricity.
Right.
Now it's more like you could control the electricity pulse.
And it's
still dangerous.
It's still extremely damaging to the brain.
I mean, if you have like a mental problem where your brain shuts off and you need it to turn it like if they made a device, because I met someone at one of the private schools I went to, the charter schools, and he had a brain implant where his brain shuts off, so it's like an electromagnet. He has to use a magnet to put it near his skull. His mom puts the magnet near his skull and it activates his brain again. It was weird, but it was really cool that they found a way to make his brain active. Yeah. We really haven't come that far, though, in understanding the brain, you know, in the last 45 years. Really. The brain is the most complex thing, I think, that's in the body. We understand the bones, we understand the muscles, the veins, and everything. We know everything else. The brain's like the most complex. But going back to her and her story, her life story, you know, I mean, I don't really know. You know, she allegedly tried to commit suicide, but we don't really know. You know, it's a strange way to try to commit suicide by running the car into a tree with your 2 kids in the car with you. It's a strange way for that to do that because there's no guarantee you're going to die. I mean, if that happened now, the police would look at it and say, was there probably a rabbit or an animal? Right. You wouldn't be institutionalized for 20 years now if that happens. And forced into involuntary treatments and stuff. But, you know, I mean, she had a tragic life, too, in the sense because her dad came here from Ireland when
when he was a little boy, his mother died of tuberculosis when she was 24. His dad died. He went fishing with his dad in a lake in Ireland, and his dad drowned. He watched his dad drown in the lake. So he lost both his parents very young. You know, so how do you think that may have affected him? And what kind of parent did it make him? And how did that affect her? And then what kind of parent did that make my dad? And then, you know what I mean? See, it trickles down, it goes down, and it affects the family for generations and generations.
Mentally.
Yeah, mentally. Yeah.
Plus that story passed down, so look how far it passed down already.
I know. Absolutely. So you got to kind of clear that stuff, and, you know, putting a gravestone there was just one step in that process of clearing it and making it right, you know? Healing it and making it right. You know? So there was that. So that was a cool thing that happened this week. But everything else was pretty much a shit show. And a lot of drama that we can't really talk about.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it. But it's bad.
Currently, it's confidential.
It's bad, and it's involving, you know, police and it's
Lawyers.
And lawyers and well,
we didn't want to take this route, actually.
We haven't
We
got
were avoiding this route,
right.
but we were forced by hand to take the legal route.
Yeah.
That's what's irritating. The whole family was avoiding it because we didn't want to pay for all this and that.
Right. We
And
just wanted to have a nice memorial for Grandpa.
it was like this. It was
That was
like we were
honoring
all
him.
just worrying about the funeral. We weren't worrying about any other things
And
until
then, right.
we checked it up just to make sure on everything else. And everything just went
Yeah.
way below.
So that was a shit show. But we did get to see Grandpa. We had a viewing
Oh,
of
yeah.
his body, and that was the first time that you've seen a dead person, yeah?
Yes and no. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen car accidents with dead bodies.
Yeah.
And I've seen some gnarly ones.
Yeah.
Like the one in Texas. There was a pipe that fell off the bridge. Remember that? We were adjusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't with you guys, but
The pipe broke through the window and killed him. Right in the center.
yeah.
That was like Final Destination. Something like from a movie.
Right.
That was gnarly.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to
But I'm
Grandpa.
saying, like, close up, you know, where, you know, you were able to, like...
It was, I couldn't get too close. It just felt, it was too hard
Yeah.
emotionally. But I did at the end, after, like, everyone kind of left the room, so I could say my little things first. Because I wanted to go for my closure, you know, because I knew Grandpa how he was, and I just wanted to see him one last time.
Yeah.
But I still remember as a big guy.
I know. He
But-
lost a lot of weight, and he had really aged a lot. His hair was gray.
And I could relate.
I mean...
I could kind of relate.
Would you recognize him? If you didn't know it was him, you would never recognize him, huh?
I could recognize him.
Yeah? I don't think it looked like him, really. He just...
I could recognize his face. That's
Yeah.
about it. And his voice.
He lost a lot of weight. Yeah. Yeah.
I could recognize his face.
So how was that, though? I mean, you played your flute a little bit.
That was so intense. That was super emotional. Like I was blacking out, like in and out of blackouts, because like that hit me hard, saying it like that. And knowing that he was suffering for 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's even rougher, because I could relate somewhat to suffering in the hospital of like a feeding tube and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I had a feeding tube
yeah,
too.
But
I
not
mean,
like
he had
that.
it longer.
Yeah. Totally different, but yes.
Totally different, but it's similar.
Similar, yeah.
Similar. I didn't say it was the same. I never said it was the same.
Yeah.
I can relate in a similar way.
Yeah.
Of
To
not,
suffering.
yeah. When people don't listen to what you're saying and doctors ignoring you, but he had doctors there, and it's like opposite. Doctors were caring for him. But yeah, yes, I can't wait to see my dog and play the hell out of my piano. Play the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna be writing new songs for that thing.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, usually a road trip has this sort of like cleansing effect, but in this state, I don't feel that way.
It's a cleansing effect if you visit like vacation.
Right.
When family passed away, it's like
no. Under these circumstances, it didn't feel that way at all.
It was tension.
It was too much time sitting in the car, allowing me to think about stuff I didn't want to be thinking.
I also wanted to say is the only thing I'm upset about the journey was I wanted to see Grandpa before he passed away. That was the one thing I wanted to see.
Me too.
The one thing I looked forward to seeing him and telling him I love you, Grandpa. Like making sure he knows. I mean, he probably knew already, but I'm glad the rest of the family was there.
Life is short.
Sister,
I mean, you always have to make sure people know that you love them, you know?
I told them on the phone one time.
Well, yeah. But this is why, because life happens and death happens. It's part of life. Buffalo Range Road. But I had really cool experiences, which I made videos about. I'll upload those when we get home. You know, with Grandpa trying to communicate to me. So
yeah.
Alright, we don't have much else to say, do we? We're just passing Crater Road. That's where that giant meteorite hit over there. It'd be cool to go there, huh?
I don't think that's the only impact on this world.
Oh no.
I read an article about some of the meteors that hit Earth.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in like 1940 that had a chemical on it that killed the whole town.
Oh. Well, anyway, out there's a giant crater. I think that's kind of the.
I've never been to it.
I haven't been to it.
Well, you've been to the shops though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you guys get me that little meteor?
Dad got that when he came out here with Brittany.
Ah. That's somewhere in the house. I think it's in the safe.
Yeah. It was Dad, Brittany, and Duke.
Yeah. Now I can't really live without Duke. What the hell? That's weird.
What?
The 3 buildings just right over there. Out of everywhere else, and it's all flat land, you see 3 giant buildings like that. That's just odd. That is odd.
They look like water towers or something. Water tanks, maybe?
Maybe emergency water tanks
Yeah.
or something. If something happened out here, maybe.
Fire.
Emergency supply. That would make sense, actually. Yep.
Alright, well, I don't think we have much else to say, do we?
No.
All right.
Currently, I mean, we might have something later.
Alright, well, we'll sign off for now. We're headed to Lubbock,
Lubbock!
so that's our next stop.
Alright, see ya.
There's the Navajo reservation. That's how these people live here. Out in the red clay.
Background, that's like
359. That's the exit.
oh, that's a bad number to worry about. 9 out of 11 cubes, 9/11. It's a sign. It's a sign. Wow, so you get to do it again.
Yep, we're gonna do it again.
Wow, that's destiny for me to do it.
Look at how these people live, Jared. You know, on the reservation. You know, it's sort of like, it's like almost going to Jamaica, you know.
Fuck! I was so close to that. I give up. Too much stress for that. I'll enjoy the scenery. Because this is the best part of Arizona, I believe. Because it's the most beautiful, I think. Because the mountain, these are the...
They look like people. They look like guardians standing away, right? Over there.
They're the exact mountains I like. Cliffs like this. This is a place where I want to go rock climbing. When I'm in good health. And go explore the mountains. Go see.
Slide the road highway, but it doesn't. Grants Road, 359, that's it. I think, but why is there no signs? You'd think there'd be big signs. Look at that church.
Is it a church though? Is it the man of the Lord? Or is it the man of the gods, of shaman gods? Spirits.
Yeah, it's here.
Look, Mom, signs.
Right. There's no signs though. That's the thing. It doesn't really tell you.
Really hard to see. And it looks like he's kind of stuck there because he has cones out.
Route recalculating.
That sucks.
Turn left onto I-40 West.
He busted something.
You have to go carefully around him. I didn't remember these.
Route recalculating. Continue on Route 66 for about 9 miles.
From far away, it doesn't look that tall. But when you're like underneath it, it's like, what the hell? My question is, how'd they get the statues up there?
I know, right? I was wondering the same thing. There it goes out of the view.
Don't hit that truck. starts joining in with the drums. Boom, boom, the rattle. And then I come in like. What?
My breath.
I play the didgeridoo, Mom. It takes a big breath.
That's
Play a
good.
flute.